Hey guys, I'm back and I want to give you a quick tour of my storage area, my homeschool storage area. I finally finished working on it, and what I want to kind of preface this is to say that we're going into our fourth year homeschooling. And so I have a lot of stuff that I've collected over years. So if you are just starting out, don't feel like, oh my gosh, I need to have all this stuff or I'm not going to be successful. I want you to kind of just see this as inspiration for, if you see something that might catch your eye. And if you have questions about what any of it is, just, drop the questions in the comments. And also remember that I've been a teacher for a really long time. And so some of the things that I have here, I've collected for a while. So I don't want to stress you out. I don't want you to feel like you have to have all this stuff. Okay, so let me just flip my camera around and we can get started. Now I do want to say that I hate organizing stuff. This is definitely not my strong suit, but we're going to start up here. So in my state, I have to keep records of what my children did every year just to kind of show if the government comes. And so all the way up there, those are all the portfolios that I make for my kids every year. And it's also their old Handwriting Without Tears workbooks. I like to look at those and just kind of see how far they've come. And sometimes I pull them out and reflect with them. Now over here is science stuff. I have the test tubes up here because I'm starting a little kind of a co-op in my house 2 days a week. It's not really a co-op because the other parents aren't teaching, but I don't want to have any glass out at first because most of the children that are going to be joining me don't have a Montessori background. So you really don't want to put out anything that they're going to be attracted to and that they're going to break because you want to set them up for success. So that's why they're here. And then once they're ready to be introduced, then I'll take them down. I also have, a little greenhouse kit so they can start growing their seeds so we can do the botany experiments. This is fun. This is made out of wood. It's made out of wood and it's a kind of a catapult. So that's always great for talking about simple machines. And then I have a bunch of rocks because every single child loves rocks. And so these rocks are for the little polishing machine down here that we got for Christmas. So that's been fun. But I wanted to show you something that I absolutely love when it comes to rocks. And these are the packets that Fossilicious sells. And they sell 3 little packets of rocks. These are sedimentary, and then there's igneous and metamorphic. And what's great about it is they come with little descriptions and the sample. For example, the igneous rocks, you have the igneous rocks that are formed inside the ground, and then the igneous rocks that are formed outside when the lava comes out of the volcano. And so, children can read about them, classify them, compare them. There's a lot that they can do with those little rocks. So if you buy one thing in geology, because you have a rock lover, these are really cool. And again, they're Fossilicious. Let's see, what else do I have? These are, this is Montessori art curriculum. Let me show you. It's called Sharing Art with Children, and it's for elementary children. It's amazing. These are kind of other art activities that I've pulled from the internet. They're also fun. Doing art at the beginning and the end of the school year is so great because it gives children something to do with their hands. They can talk to each other, and you can really observe where their skills lie, how well they're able to work together, all of those things that will then help you plan lessons. And then I have a bunch of notebooks just, for observation notes and stuff. And these little guys, those are Target dollar bin. And I have different colors, and I have just white, kind of obsessed with these little notebooks. They're great for drawing, nature journaling, tracing, just anything that that the children want to do. They're blank on the inside, so they're great for children who aren't writing yet, and I have a lot of those this year, and so I got a lot of little notebooks. Then I got these. I haven't opened them yet, but I got these at Target, and it's a school journal. It's called School Journal, and it's basically like it gives them a little bit of space to write about what they learned that day or what they liked that day. And so I thought it was a good introduction for the reflective journaling that I do with the children. It's just kind of very simple, and it gives them some prompts. And I have some postcards. I collect postcards from when I used to travel before I had kids. So I collected a bunch of postcards. And so I use those. I put them in geography folders, or, you know, if we're studying a particular artist, I might take them out, for example. And you can get these at museums. They're awesome. So they're like little packets. So for example, this one was, I got in Amsterdam, you know, it was from Van Gogh Museum, and etc. So that is this cabinet. Oh, and the recorders back there. I have 2 recorders. Hopefully at some point I'll be able to start teaching recorder. And did you know you can sanitize recorders in the dishwasher? So that's awesome. So let's come over here. Up here I just have some binders. And then this shelf, I have a bunch of language stuff. So these are kind of little cards that I got at Target 2 years ago when I was living in LA and I didn't have any materials. They're not very good. I just keep them there, you know, in case some of the children want to do little games, but they're not really cool. Plastic animals for the farm and for sound games if I have little ones or children who don't have a Montessori background and I want to see how well they're doing with sound games. And then this is what I wanted to show you. I had these books in my, last elementary classroom, and they are amazing. They're great for children who are have phonograms already and can read sight words, but are really working on, you know, reading full books, right? So they're, you know, good for, I don't know, anywhere between ages 5 and 7. And they're from Usborne, I never know how to say it, but there you go. So those are really amazing. Nadia's not there yet, but those are the ones that Zachary used when he first moved into elementary to learn how to read. And then I have some more materials that I haven't put out yet. These are the sentence analysis that I want to turn into Spanish. And over here I have different types of paper, white paper, and then I have this large grid paper. And the big sheet draw and write paper from Handwriting Without Tears, which is amazing. Let me see if I can pull it out and show you. Here's the example on the cover. So your child can write long sentences and do big drawings, or you can fold it in half and they can make booklets. So big sheet, draw and write paper is awesome, especially if you have, you know, first, second graders. That's great. Some more spirograph that I have there. And then, you know, markers, Sharpies. You always want to keep Sharpies out of reach of little hands because it can get dangerous. My little ukulele. And then here I have drawings, drawers. I think this is always really important to have when you're making materials, like here I'm making a phonogram dictionary, but you're not done and you need somewhere to store them. That's where I put my materials when I'm still working on them. And then here I just have like more ideas for lessons and things like that. So that's my top cabinet. And then here I have just different kinds of paper, right? So origami paper, different types of construction paper, copying paper, tissue paper, all sorts of paper. And here, it's always important to have a space where if you have materials that you are fixing or that have like a broken part or a missing piece or something, you want to have a little place out of the way where you keep them so that you remember to actually fix them. So that's here. Now this one is where I'm going to be making the pin maps. I've made a couple, so these two are empty because they're already on the shelf, and I'll show you my shelves in a little while. But so here I'm making some more pin maps, and so that's why they're still in here. So this is kind of like my I'm working on it area. And then here I have different drawers. So school supplies, I've got lots of pencils, erasers. These are little pencils. They're like golf pencils, and they're great for little hands. And so I love those. You can take the eraser off if you want, because they're kind of a really bad eraser. But I got these on Amazon. I think I just looked for golf pencils, and that's what showed up. And then these drawers is where I keep kind of the handmade materials. So for example, this is math. And I have like little fraction numbers that I'm not using right now. Counters, flashcards, special cases if I'm not using them right now. These I got in Target, and they're fun for just, practicing a different way of practicing math facts. This is clocks, time bingo. So all of that is math related. Now these are Spanish materials. I definitely have to make more Spanish materials, but that's what I have right now. And then over here I have science. And so I have classified cards for science. I have the Who Am I cards that I haven't taken out. And what I do to store them, really simple. I just use Ziploc bags, and I write on the outside what it is that I'm using. More classified cards, butterflies, phases of the moon. And then this is what's called a solar mask. So this I use when I teach the equinox and solstices. I use this, and that's one of the lessons that is in the timeline for the children to do. And then this is lower elementary language. So I have a separate drawer for lower elementary and upper elementary. Lower elementary materials is things like phonograms, compound words, puzzle words, or sight words, phonetic cards. These are great for spelling. So let me take these out and show them to you. So these are technically they're the green series that they call it. I don't use the pink, green, blue series, whatever. But I do like these cards because two children can work together, or an adult and a child, and the adult can read each word like dictate, and then the child will write it. They can use the movable alphabet or or just write with by hand, and then you give the card to the child, and the child can check on their own, right? So it's kind of a very simple control of error. And it's, isolated by just one phonogram. And there's a ton of cards. So there you go. So that's lower elementary. Now we go to upper elementary. So these are the days of the week, which, technically is history, but I'm putting it here in language. And then I have a little bit of the grammar boxes material, which is, it's technically it's lower elementary, but I do also use it with upper elementary for classification work and all that. And then I have prefixes and suffixes in terms of etymology. And upper elementary children love etymology, the roots of words. They become really curious, and so you want to do a lot of work with them on that. And then there are command cards, so like suffix command cards, which help the children so see, for example, full of beauty, and then they have to kind of find the suffix that matches that. And these, I think they are from Montessori Print Shop, if I remember correctly. Then I have, different plurals, so irregular plurals, and more suffixes, etc. So, and then again, like you can see, they're all in their little Ziploc bags just with a name. It's very simple. You don't have to overcomplicate this. Let's see what we have over here. Okay. So these are kind of arts and crafts materials, a little bit of like science stuff in here too. So paintbrushes and glue sticks and regular glue and, popsicle sticks and sponges and straws and all sorts of things. I keep these bottles because sometimes we'll use them for, an experiment or for mixing paints and art, so mixing colors. So all that is there. And then here is my supplies, my office supplies. So you want to make sure that you let the children know what is off limits to them and what they can have access to. So for example, this drawer, for the most part, it's off limits to the children. So these are things that are for me to use, for me to put out. I will have some rubber bands for them to use, but I'm not going to leave, a ton of rubber bands for them to have access to. So you just have to talk with them and let them know this, that's your drawer and then this is my drawer, because, they're not doing it to be mean or rude, but if you don't control, the child's environment and they're going to be pulling out all the rubber bands, then you're going to have a giant mess in your drawers. So definitely control your environment so you don't have to control your children. Now let's see what's down here. Okay, so here we have a lot of, so we have the math charts that don't fit anywhere else, but we have a lot of handwork stuff. And so in there, I'm not going to take it out because it's finally semi-organized, but I have fabrics, pony beads, buttons, markers, fabric markers. I have these, little rolling pins for the clay. I have clay here. I have 2 different brands just because I've, just been trying different brands. They're both kind of equal, not really recommend one over the other. This is white and this is terracotta color. And so that's why I have 2. And then here I have Plaster of Paris. This is super fun for making fossils. So if you have clay and plaster of Paris, you can make a little clay, a little round thing out of clay inside a cup, and then push in a plastic bug, for example, a plastic spider, and then pour in plaster of Paris, and it will create a fossil, right? So it's super fun to use. And then down here, I have all of my fun toys that you don't technically need in order to homeschool, but they are fun. So paper cutter and binder and laminator. And I've stopped laminating stuff last year because I only have my 2 children. But now that I'm going to be homeschooling a bunch of children, I will have to start laminating again. And then down here, last but not least, are, so I have kind of the random the random cabinet. I just have some random materials. So these were the teen boards that I made for my daughter out of felt, and I'm really glad I didn't throw them away. And they work really well actually because the numbers stick, right? So you can stick them and they don't go anywhere. So they're actually really effective. And then I have these, which are for a science experiment. Just random beads, these that are for another science experiment. So just, randomness. Then here, so a couple of quick tips. 2 years ago when I was living in LA and I didn't have any materials, I got these at the dollar store and they worked so well for painting. And so if you don't have the fancy painting trays that can actually be so expensive, you can use the little ice cube trays at the dollar store. And these are also great for paints and glue and all that sort of stuff. And these are just applesauce containers, yogurt containers. They're great. And so I have paints as well and hot glue guns. And again, you want to set boundaries, especially if you have younger children with hot glue guns. But trust your older children, show them how to use it. And then here I just have like my random office supplies. And so this again is not for the children to use. And so you have to have a conversation at the beginning of the year, what they can and cannot touch. For the most part, I'm not going to give them access to anything except that one drawer with the straws and the popsicle sticks and all that. And then down here we have more art supplies. So we have ink stamps and balloons for experiments. And then these, which are rubber pads, so that they can carve out different designs, and then they can do kind of printing with those. I like to collect, this is gonna be crazy, but I like to collect crayons from the restaurants that we go to, because, for example, these are triangle shape, and so they're great for little hands and they don't roll off the table. So if you have like a younger child and you need to keep them busy, these are great. And they're, great for art projects, for melting, for doing the rock cycle. Crayons are amazing for doing the rock cycle experiment, like the one that's in the timeline. So all those are great. Here I have stencils. I have the continent stencils that I got at Montessori ETC. And then these are just some animal stencils that I've had for a million years. But again, with my little ones coming to homeschool this year, I'm going to need them. So there you have it. That is the tour of my storage area. So let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything that you want to know more about. And hopefully a little later, if not tomorrow, I will do a tour of my shelves, which I'm finally finished with. So I look forward to sharing that with you. Take care.